Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of my lineup. This weekend it's Arsenal against Everton, a team that we've always gotten the better of. We have a really good record against them. They've never beaten us at the Emirates. The last win at our home ground was in 1996 at Highbury, and at the Emirates it's 9 wins and 4 draws since we entered the stadium. So really good record, and it's a home game against them this weekend, so you'd expect 3 points from the previous meetings. So in this video I'm going to take a look at the game we played against them early in the season and all the 6 games in the previous 3 seasons. I'm going to talk about all the good games we had against them. For example, the 7-0 victory we had against them back in 2003, 2004. And before I go on, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the constant support. I started this channel around November and I'm already at 600 subscribers, and I'm getting a lot of comments from you guys, which is really good. We are here for Arsenal. It's always nice getting different comments from different fans. So yeah, make sure you subscribe, and I'll have my links down below for the other videos I've done, including the player ratings for Olympiacos against Arsenal. Now back to the video. Arsenal against Everton. What can I say? Everton are unbeaten in the last 5 games. They've won 3 and drawn 2. They've scored 10 and conceded 6 goals from the last 5 games. And for the whole season, they only have 3 away wins. But same can be said for us, because we've only won 5 home games this season. It's been a poor season generally. From the last 5 games, we are unbeaten 2. We've scored 8 and conceded 4, but the last 3 games in all competitions, we've kept clean sheets. So let me get into the previous meetings immediately. And let me start with Everton against Arsenal earlier in the season. Of course, we all know that was Freddie Ljungberg's last game, and that was also Duncan Ferguson's last game. In that game, Mikel, Arteta and Carlo Ancelotti were in the stands ready to take over really hard tasks, and to be fair, they've both done very well so far. I expected Ancelotti to have a bounce, and Arteta kind of, but didn't really expect Arteta to end up as the Arsenal manager, and didn't expect Ancelotti to end up as the Everton manager, to put it in a simple way. So for that game, we had that was the first game Saka ever played as a left back for Arsenal. Chambers was there, Niles was there, Nelson, Rowe, Martinelli. So we had a really young team for that game, and that was the first of 5 consecutive draws in December and January. We drew that game, drew away to Chelsea. We also drew away to Bournemouth. So that was the first of the many games we drew. We ended up drawing that game 0-0. It was a poor game overall. Nothing quite happened in that game. Actually, Everton had 0 shots on target, and I think we only had 2. So the less said about that game, the better. To the previous season, 2018-2019, Emirates' first season at Arsenal, first full season at Arsenal. And the first game we played that season was the Emirates Stadium. We all remember that bang of a goal Lacazette scored. And Aubameyang also scored under the VAR era. In the VAR era, that goal would have been disallowed. It was an offside. That at the time, that was the 4th win in a row. We had just lost to Chelsea and lost to Man City, and then all of a sudden we went into on that incredible run on 22 games unbeaten until Southampton ended the run for us, and Tottenham also eliminated us from the Carling Cup, or the Carabao Cup as it's called right now. That was the 4th win in a row, as I've said. We also beat West Ham, Cardiff, Newcastle, Voskhla in the Europa League, Brentford, Watford, Karabag, Fulham, Leicester, Sporting. So it was really good times back then. 22 games unbeaten, as I've said, and Ramsey got 2 assists in that game, and we managed to keep a clean sheet. So that was the first game that season at the Emirates. We traveled to Goodison Park in April of last year, and they beat us 1-0. We're not the only team they beat around that period. They also beat Man U, I think 4-0, and they beat Chelsea too. Jagielka scored, I think it was from a long throw, which was disastrous at the time. That day we played a back 3. Montreal was there, Socrates, Mustafi. They actually all got booked in that game. Actually, from that game and the squad I'm expecting to play this weekend, I think probably just 3 players would start from that game that that are available right now, because El Neni was played in that game, Niles, Mkhitaryan, all players that are not here or not expected to start this game. Just before that game, Everton beating us 1-0, we had actually played Newcastle and won 2-0 at home. The same as this season, we've just played Newcastle and you're going to play Everton. So, yeah, as I've said, Everton beat us 1-0, and that was the start of our poor run last season, the way we ended that season. Also lost to Wolves after that, lost to Leicester, drew with Brighton, trashed against Chelsea in the Europa League final. So that was the 2018-2019 season, one win each. To the 2017-2018 season, that was Wenger's last season, of course, everyone knows that. I'll start with the home game that we played as the second game of the season, as the second game against Everton that season. It was Aubameyang's debut, had just been signed for £56 million. We were so excited. Aubameyang was starting, Mkhitaryan was starting, and it actually proved to be right, because we won that game 5-1. Ramsey scored a hat-trick, Koscielny scored, Aubameyang also scored, as I've said. Mkhitaryan had an incredible 3 assists in that game. We were 3-0 up in the first 19 minutes and 4-0 up before halftime. The game before that, we had actually beaten Crystal Palace 4-1, and we were leading 4-0 at halftime too. So those were 2 games back to back that we were leading 4-0 at halftime. And an incredible start. We were only the second team, and I think this record still stands right now. We were only the second team to lead at home 4-0 by halftime in 2 consecutive games since Manchester United in 1997. So that was incredible. Aubameyang also became the 8th player to score on his debut that day, after Steve Bold, Kevin Campbell, Ljungberg, Adebayo, Nasri, Vermaelen, and Lacazette, who did it the previous season against Leicester. So how would give to have 4 goals before halftime this season. It's been long. So that was the second game we played. The first game that season, again, we beat them 5-2. We actually beat them 10-3 on aggregate that season. We all remember when Rooney came back and scored that goal. Monreal scored for us, Ozil, Laka, Ramsey, and Sanchez. And Idrissi Gana Gueye got a red card in that game, and he managed a 5-2. If I'm not wrong, that was Ronald Koeman's last game, and we got him to be sacked. And also, that was Wenger's 3rd win on his birthday. He also did it in 2005 and 2006, and again, of course, in 2017, he won a game on his birthday. We had an incredible 14 shots on target on that day, the most we ever managed since the 2003 and 4 season. So, as you can see, we always have really, really good stats against Everton, and everything is kind of pointing to an Arsenal win. 2016-2017, the next season, we managed to beat them 3-1 at the Emirates Stadium. Bellerin, Sanchez, Ramsey, Lukaku scoring for Everton. That was the final game of the season. We needed a win, and we were hoping Liverpool would lose to Middlesbrough for us to qualify for the Champions League, but of course they didn't lose. Koscielny got a record in that game, which meant he missed the FA Cup final against Chelsea, but he didn't cost us because Mertesacker and Holding were amazing. Everton took an incredible 22 shots that day. That was the first time we missed out on the Champions League, of course. That was the game that was the season that was awful for us. But we managed to beat Chelsea later on. The fans that day were chanting Wenger out. They were chanting Steve Ball, leave our club. And Welbeck had 2 assists on that day. Koscielny, another stat about Koscielny. That was his 5th Premier League red card, the most ever. He was tied with Kabul and Huddlestone. Also, another incredible stat, Koscielny got a red card in the first 15 minutes. That was the second time he did that, and he's the only player who has ever gotten 2 red cards in the first 15 minutes of a game, as in different games, that is. Also, that game we considered a penalty which Lukaku converted. That was the 10th penalty we had considered that season, and the record is Hull with 11. So, yeah, a lot happens between Arsenal and Everton. At their place that season, they beat us 2-1, Coleman and the late Williams goal that day. We were unlucky because we should have had a penalty. In the VR era, although I don't trust VR, we should have had a penalty. And also in that game, Jagielka got a red card for them, and we were expected to win that game because we had come out from a 5-1 West Ham thumping. We had beaten Basel 4-1. We had beaten Stoke 3-1, so it was quite a a bad result for us at the time. Other key fixtures that we've played against Everton: 2009, we beat them 6-1 at their place. Vermaelen scored on his debut that day. We also played them in the 2013-2014 FA Cup quarterfinals. That was the time we took the first FA Cup after a long time. We beat them 4, and Arteta scored in that game actually. In the same season, they beat us 3-0. We were fighting for the top 4, if you can remember, and Lukaku played at the right and smashed us totally. You can remember the Adams goal, I think it was 1998. So really good fixtures between Arsenal and Everton, but we have the better of the record. And now, enough of the previous meetings, enough of the stats. Let me get into my preferred lineup for the game, and here it is. So in goal, of course, we'd stick with Leno. Another incredible performance against Olympiacos. By then, I'm still buzzing from that away goal, really needed. Leno in that would start in this game, of course. In defense, it's really tough to see who's gonna play, but I don't want to overplay Saka. I know it's good to keep playing a player when the confidence is up, but I dressed him for this to keep him fit for the Olympiacos game and ready for the Olympiacos game. Kolasinac, of course, can do the job, so I'd start with Kolasinac on the left, Luiz, Mustafi and Bellerin. Bellerin rested against Olympiacos, and for the defense, I don't really want to change it. It's working right now. Socrates played really well the other day, so it's really a tough decision. Maybe Socrates could come in for Luiz, but I'd keep it the way it is. Midfield, Torriera was ill against Olympiacos, but I reckon he's okay right now. So I'd go with Xhaka and Torriera. Ozil missed the game because of personal reasons, expecting a baby, so I'd bring him back for this game. Aubameyang would play on the left. He was a no-show on the right wing against Olympiacos. I don't want him to play in that position again. I'd bring back Pepe, who rested in that game, only played the final 10 minutes. And of course, Lacazette up front. So Leno, Luiz, Mustafi, Kolasinac, Bellerin, Xhaka, Torreira, Ozil, Aubameyang, Lacazette and Pepe. We'd also have a strong bench with Martinelli, Saka, Nelson, Guendouzi, Ceballos, Niles. So it's Nketiah too, so we'll also have a really good bench that day. And with this squad, I reckon we can get all 3 points. Maybe there'll be a few changes. Maybe Saka will keep his place, which I don't mind. Maybe Martinelli would stay in, but I reckon he'd come from the bench for this one. Defense, it's really hard to predict between Socrates, Mustafi, Luiz, or maybe Pablo Mari. I don't know how it's gonna go, but with this squad, I'm gonna predict a 3-1 victory. As I've said from the previous meetings, most of our games we normally concede and score, and from the last 5 games in the Premier League for both teams this season, we always score or concede, and same for them. So it's gonna be a really interesting game. Hopefully we can get a run going. So far so good, 3 clean sheets in a row, and a Premier League win. Hope we can get a second Premier League win. We have West Ham and Brighton next, so if we can get a run going, you never know what can happen. So yeah, anyway, you guys let me know what your predictions are for the game. Let me know what your starting lineup would be, and as I've said, thanks for supporting. I'll have more content coming out soon. It's awesome doing these videos every day. I enjoy doing it. So yeah, let's enjoy the game for the weekend. Let's look forward to another awesome Premier League weekend, and God bless.